All right, in light of the Tua news that they're going in a different direction, at least for this year, I always like to go back and look at the final game that a quarterback plays. Miami won 5 of 6 before this game on Monday night. Then they lose one after a hot streak and Tua playing better football and kind of getting back to what they were a couple years ago in one game, and they bench him. And the one game quarterback play has to be better. So, there's a lot of factors. There could be a lot of factors just beyond just obviously this one game or just flat out to a play. But I always like to go back and look at these games and say, okay, was it really a bad quarterback game that kind of initiated this particular move? And, is it that Tua can't play anymore? We know the weather was cold and all of those issues. But let's dive into the tape here and see what we've got. Okay, so here, just a little fake toss, and they're going to run simply just a curl here, and then what I call a sled combination, which is a swing with a lead right here. Okay, and so coming back, and Miami, runs a lot of the pure progression stuff, which we've been talking about. So you come back, and it's look at the curl. If you don't have the curl, basically kick the swing out here. And that's what he does, okay? Kicks the swing. Now, the one thing I would say is Tua is ready to throw right now, okay? Which is always a tough thing. I've been talking a lot about this. I want you to look at this safety right here, is that quarterbacks have to do a better job. And I think it's one of the reasons because these quarterbacks have been living in shotgun their entire lives. And so timing in shotgun is so different to develop and understand the timing. But when we get set too early, it makes us make decisions early, okay? So the curl route isn't anywhere close to the top of his route yet. And Tua is looking at it and deciding, am I going to throw it? And so because he's set early, and I said, look at this safety is reading the eyes of Tua. So because he's set and looking there, right? If there's anything that stops him from throwing this curl, right? Because to me, throw the curl. Like, get the ball out of your hands. But it's this safety who's kind of eyeing it like, oh, maybe he could jump it, but he ain't jumping this. Like, with where he's at right here, this is a wide open curl route in the NFL. But you see Tua is already moved on and is kicking this swing out there because he's set too early. Okay, he's set too early on the play. Got to time your drop up with that, because also when we're dropping as a quarterback, these guys are dropping as well. They're reading our drops to see, okay, when he stops his feet, that means he wants to throw. So we have got to time up our feet with the throw. So these guys continue to stay in, back pedal, cover mode until we are ready to throw. Then it becomes a quick hitch and a throw. But he's got the curl there if he wants it, in my opinion. But nothing wrong with this. Hey, a guy's hanging to the inside, no problem. Kick it out there. We got a lead blocker. We should be in good shape, except our lead blocker gets pushed back into the running back and doesn't bode well for us. But, okay, play number 1. All right, play number 2 here. Okay, so we're going to run, let me see. Okay, we're going to run a play that I call kind of pogo. So it's a go on the outside. It comes off a poco, which is a corner and a flat. But we're going to run a go instead of a post. And then we're going to run the corner. And then we're going to run an under. Okay? So these are the things that just drive me batty as a quarterback. And I sit back and I go, why? What are we trying to get here? And then they have a one-on-one route back here with their tight end on an in route, but they're going to widen him. He's going to lose leverage, and so. But it comes off of a very common play with a go and a corner, and then usually you have some sort of out or flat here. Okay, but they're going to run an under, and I'm going to show you why this stuff drives me crazy. Okay, so here's the structure of the defense. Okay, great. We get this corner out here to turn his back, and so he's going to turn and go right here. So what I really want is I want this corner and an out, because I only have one defender out here. So I'm going to high-low that defender. That is what this concept, the pogo or the poco concept, is all about. Clear out the outside, get a high-low off of the flat defender to that side. Okay? So great, we would have that right here. But why would we ever want to do this? Because when we do this, what happens? Okay? The go runs into a corner who's responsible for that. The out goes right to an outside linebacker who's responsible for that. And the under goes right to an inside linebacker that's responsible for that. So we're sending a bunch of guys to different zones. If you guys follow me, you understand I'm always talking about put a defender in conflict. Which defender is in conflict on this play? Okay? And the answer is nobody. Nobody. Right here. Like, where's Tua supposed to throw this football? Now, we can say, well, this guy kind of holds in here. Throw this ball outside the numbers and he can't get there. And okay, yeah, we could say that. In other words, beat the defender who's supposed to cover this with a great throw right to the spot where it's going to be open. But instead, we just pass everybody off in this concept to a guy that should be there. Okay? And so it's always my problem, right? Every defense is going to have a flat defender and a hook defender. Every zone defense is going to have one or the other. Now, we could say we only wanted this versus man. Okay, great. But you're calling it against zone. Now quarterback's in trouble. But every zone is going to have somebody to cover deep, somebody to cover flat, and somebody to cover hook. So if we're going to run three guys into those three different areas, why do we think somebody is going to come open? If you're only calling against man, then you better give me a really good zone beater to the backside, which we obviously don't have. And again, details, I would love for Darren Waller here to dip inside of him when you're running an in route. Don't go outside of the guy when you're running an in route because you're going to lose leverage, just like you do here. And the quarterback's going to try to throw it, and that's what he sees. He sees a defender inside of you. He's got no other options. Everything is covered, and he just got to kind of throw it away. Play design, so important for quarterbacks and why quarterbacks are having success or not having success, or at least having a chance to have success. Okay? So kind of a common play. We're going to run our action to this side. So it basically becomes a 4-strong type side. Hopefully we're going to get all these guys to go there. Then we're going to drag the shallow, and then we're going to bring the cross. Again, true pure progression really here. So Tua comes out, he looks for the shallow, okay, doesn't have the shallow. Okay, now he's coming to the cross, does a nice job of hitting this cross on time. Boom, right there, and we're in good shape. And again, these are the reasons why I'm not a huge fan of pure progression, okay? I talk about it all the time, okay? Because technically here, they have the ability to cover both of these guys. So for me, I would want this to be what I would call an over route. Okay, so I'm trying to hit it over here by the numbers so I can get a true high-low right here. So it would be a deeper drop by Tua. Let this develop, let it get across the field so I can try to isolate the backside guy. Pure progression, they're not going to do that. They're just going to read it on time. Okay, boom. But this becomes such a huge element of the pure progression is that, yes, this guy is open in this window between these two guys, okay? But you got to make sure your quarterback gets there on the right timing to be able to hit this because there's not a big window there. And if this defender right here doesn't chase the shallow quite as much, he shrinks that window, he makes it harder, or he even covers that window right there. And now they've got the sled out here where we can always kick it out to the sled, but we're not getting a true defender read. We're trying to get the defense to get a little bit out of whack, which they do right here, and we take advantage of it because they're out of whack, but we never get that true defender conflict here. But nice process by Tua to get through it fast, hit the quick window, and move the chains. All right, so here's the typical Miami offense. They want to come off a play action. They want to run the skinny post or the quick in route back here, and you see them hit it all the time. Between the hash and the numbers, this is the throw, the money throw in this Miami offense. And then they're going to come back with a corner route right here off of it. So it's basically, we're going to look at this. If you can hit it, hit it. If you can't, come back here to this one right there. Play action. There it is. No chance for the throw. Safety comes down and grabs that area. Okay, everybody else is really blocking, probably going to leak out late. But, you know, if you're Tua, you just can't do this. Like, I have no idea. And again, so much of it is because it's rhythm. You go from one side back to the other side and have to try to make a quick decision to the other side, okay? Now, this is not just in pure progression systems. There's times where we're going to read one side and then have to come back to another side on a progression. But this is one thing that you see a lot with pure progression is you have to start one side and see what's going on one side, and then you have to quickly turn back to the other side and make a decision, and you don't really know what's going on back there. So Tua comes back to one side, okay? Now all of a sudden pressure's coming, and he comes back to the other side, right? He got pressure right here. He comes back to the other side, and I just believe more than anything, he just didn't get to verify exactly what was going on over here. He's turning back, trying to find his receiver and get the ball out. But again, you just can't do it, right? You've got to verify it. If he verifies it and takes another second, he's probably sacked here. But he tries to force it out of there. It's not a good throw. I mean, nothing about this is good. Nothing about this should have ever been thrown. And it's an easy interception right here. But a big part of it, you start me on one side, I don't know what's going on the other side. If I have to turn and make a quick decision on the other side, I might not be able to see all the pieces I need to see. And it leads to bad decisions and bad plays like this. So again, I'm not saying that's not on Tua. He's got to be able to somehow see that, take a sack, whatever, not throw the interception there. But I'm telling you that there's certain aspects of, you know, when you go from one side of the field to the other side of the field and you have to make a quick decision, it's hard for a quarterback to be able to verify that, know what to look at, know who to find when your eyes are swinging from one side of the field to the other. Okay, so here we got another play right here. We're going to come out. We've got a go and an out right here. Don't have it. We get this cross right here. We're going to run an angle right here, and then we're going to run an under over here. So, right, maybe peek here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everything coming into your vision. But you see right here, like, where are you going to throw the football right here? Okay? There's nowhere to, everybody covered in this particular situation. It's man-to-man coverage, so it doesn't really matter about putting a defender in conflict. We just need somebody to win. Nobody really wins quickly. So Tua's got to take off. Try to get the first down running. All right, so this appears to be what I call a choice 7. Okay, so a choice route right here by the back, a 7 route or a corner route up over the top. Get a guy going down the middle here, and then I guess this is an under. Not really sure why they're bringing an under with the choice possibility to break inside, but that's what this play is. Okay, so we're going to start to the right side. Okay, and it's a matter of how we're going to read this. Okay, how do you read it when you start to this side? I don't really know if they read high to low, low to high on this, but again, details. So we've got this one-on-one right here. We let the corner fall back and cover the corner route. So maybe there's a throw right in front of that guy right here. But again, how much time can I hang over there before I have to get to the other side? There's nothing there. This guy is able to cover that, even though there may be a throw underneath right here to this guy. As he goes through it, step up, feels the pressure right there and starts to move. Maybe there's a throw right there. I don't know why those guys are coming into each other. But again, you know, I'm all about details. So I'm about trying to focus the quarterback's eyes on a defender that you can put in conflict. So for me here, I would love to see this choice route get a little bit wider, okay? I want to get a little bit wider. Why? Because I know I've got a corner route over the top of it. So I want to try to influence whoever that outside defender is. So if he drops back to cover the corner, then I'm going to be open. If he comes up to cover me, then I'm going to open up my corner route here. So we used to always teach your choice routes, get width, and break outside first. Outside first. I know the bigger plays are inside, but break outside first because the other element of our play is outside. So I just want you to watch this. So if we do this and we tell our back to break outside first, okay? You get leverage on this backer. I would like to see him get a little bit more width, but you get leverage, break outside. Okay, when you break outside, now as a quarterback, I get a read. Let me erase this one here. I get a read now off of the corner on the outside, and I get a high-low. If he wants to keep getting deep, I'm going to throw the out portion of the choice against that linebacker and take it all day long. If that guy wants to stay down, now I know that I've got the throw up over the top to the corner route. When we shrink this, I mean when we go tight inside, we give this guy a better chance to cover us, which allows this guy a better chance to fall off, and then it becomes, however we do this, 1, 2, 3, and I got to get all the way back here to 4. And again, going from one side to the other to try to verify what's going on. I got pressure, got to try to verify and see what's going on, see if there's anybody in the middle, right? It's easy for us on tape to go, oh, he's got a shot right here. But what's really hard, again, is, right? I know on the snap, this guy was there, right? And I'm not reading him. I'm not reading that side of the field anymore because I got to go eyes over here. So when I turn back to the other side, when Tua does, right there, okay, and we say, throw it to this guy, he's open, Tua has to turn around and go, okay, where's 41? I know he was in the middle of the field when I snapped the ball, and then I lost track of him. Now I got to come back and find him. Yeah, he's down here covering the go, which is easy if I'm reading to that side from the start. When I'm reading to the other side and coming back, not nearly as easy to get back there and just throw the football right away. And thus, Tua is moving and trying to create and makes a nice play on the run right here. So hopefully you're getting a sense of how hard it can be in the pure progression system to read just across the field. Sounds great. Start here. Everything will be coming into your vision. Just work across the field. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's easy. It's not easy because you're not able to verify the defense oftentimes, and that's why you're trying to find a wide receiver open. Is he open? Is he not open? Without even knowing what the defense is doing. Okay, so here's another play, which I don't really know what we're doing on the backside. Okay, so we've got a little stick swing over here, which is a common play. Okay, so he goes to read over there. They pop this defensive end here to cover it, makes it hard. And then, I don't really know. Like, we got all kinds of bodies going over here. Okay, so he reads up top. Oh, he thinks he's going to take the stick based off of this guy widening. Yep, but nope. This guy takes it away. Okay, so now I got to work back to the other side. Boom. Okay, and he comes way back to this other side here. Again, not sure what Waller's doing here, but we got two bodies here, and then we got a body here. I mean, this one defender can basically clog up all of these routes to the backside here. Okay, so I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what we're trying to get here. I don't know. So when Tua comes back, you guys tell me what he's supposed to do, what he's supposed to see over here. I don't know. Gets it to his back. It's a short little dink and dunk here, but again, you see, right? This guy takes away both of those other throws. Who makes the tackle? Same guy. Same guy makes the tackle that covered the other two guys. Like, it just doesn't make sense, right? Okay, Kurt, what would you do? All right, what would I do? Okay, I'm going to put this guy up here on an in, okay, and this guy on an under or a hook right here, and then I'm going to swing this guy, okay? So if I come over to this side, okay, I'm going to read it, okay, I'm going to read it, and if they take that away, I can come back and see this guy. Does he take the in? Okay, great, he takes the in. Now, this guy is isolated to have to take the under or the swing over there, and I'm trying to move them or overload them. If this guy goes running over to the weak side like he does here, now we could replace back here with an in route But with Waller kind of getting jammed and getting pushed over there, which maybe that's what he's trying to do here. Maybe that's what they're trying to run here. But he gets, oh, I'm sorry, it's not Waller. That tight end gets pushed over to that side where we want it to be on the front side. He gets pushed to the back side, allowing Queen to be able to fall back and cover it by the time Tua gets there, and there's just not a lot happening. Okay, I always talk about a pressure plan, pressure plan, pressure plan. Okay, so a lot of this comes down to how do we count the box. Okay, so let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to count those 4 as down linemen. So that means the offensive line are going to block those 4. Okay, from there, we've got 4 other guys. Okay, so we've got 4 other guys. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this one back here is a safety. This one over here, number 4, is a nickel. Okay, so we've got to decide, okay, how we want to determine who those guys are. What do I mean by that? Okay, so we always, when it comes to protections, we denote 3 linebackers. Okay, we denote the Mike. Okay, so you hear quarterbacks always come up and go, all right, 6 is the Mike, 6 is the Mike. Okay, so once we determine who the Mike is, the next linebacker to the weak side becomes the Will linebacker. The next linebacker to the strong side becomes the Sam linebacker. Okay, so if we call number 6 the Mike, okay, we've got Will here, Sam there, and then this guy becomes the strong safety. Okay, and it could be a different way, right? We could say, okay, this guy's the Mike, which makes this guy the Will, which makes this guy the Sam, which makes this guy the strong safety, okay? But denoting those guys is what helps us determine who's blocking who. All right, so the way that Miami does this here, I believe, is they say 6 is the Mike, okay? So that means Will, Sam, strong safety, okay? And so the offensive linemen in this particular case are going to take the 4 down guys and the Mike, okay? So they're going to block those guys right there. They're going to let the back block Will to Sam. Okay, I believe they're asking him to scan this. So he's going to go Will first. If Will doesn't come, he's going to go to Sam. So we're going to try to pick up some kind of combination of the 6 guys that blitz. And so we feel like we're in really, really good shape, if 6 of those guys come. All right, still don't like the scan. Still like my quarterback to know where he's hot. But nonetheless, that's what they're going to do. Which leaves this guy, the strong safety, as the free guy here, okay? So if he comes, we do not have someone to block him, all right? So we're going to watch this right here, and we're going to see how they do this. Boom, okay? The other guys pop out. We go block the Will, like I said. Strong safety, unaccounted for, is coming free. How are we going to answer that question? You guys hear me or see me tweet it every week. Have a pressure plan. Have a pressure plan. This guy is unblocked, Tua. I don't know if Tua knows that. I don't know if they even talk about it. This guy is unblocked, Mike McDaniel or offensive scheme or whatever. He's unblocked. What are we going to do to answer it? Okay? So, for me, when the unblocked guy comes to the backside, okay? So I've got my 3 receivers over here and my 1 receiver over here. Okay? Very seldom, I shouldn't say very seldom, but you're not always going to have your number 1 or your 1 receiver, solo receiver on the backside, run a quick route. It's just not going to happen. They're usually going to be running down the field. So if that unblocked defender comes to his side, you have to do what I call a side adjust. Okay? It means you have to adjust your route based on your sight. When that free safety comes, quarterback, wide receiver has to see it, and you have to adjust your route to a quick route. You can change it during the week, whatever. It could be a quick go route, could be an out route, could be a hitch route, could be a slant route, could be a one-step route, something quick. But we both have to see it, and we've got to adjust because he is unblocked. And what I don't want to do is have an unblocked defender to this side and then try to figure it out and answer the problem to that side, right? So that's what happens. Unblocked defender to the bottom, and then what happens? All of these guys to the top drop out. So I got all kinds of bodies dropping out to the front side, and you're going to tell me, well, the void is to the backside because we're bringing Jalen Ramsey, yet you've got to turn your back to the unblocked defender, and then you've got to find a quick throw with all these bodies to the front side. Instead, just run a quick out. Just run a quick out. Just run a quick hitch. Let's just replace it. Let's just take it. Let's make the game easy. Let's get a positive play. Instead, we don't. And look at this. I mean, look at these routes that we have. We have a skinny post. We have a return route. And then we got something vertical. We got nothing that's looking quick over there anyways. Nothing that's happening fast for Tua whatsoever. This guy's running down the field, and Jalen Ramsey is sprinting after Tua, and it's like, oh man, we should fire Tua because he's not playing very well, and he takes a sack here. What are you doing here? What are you doing? Like, I'm with you. Throw it away. Like, throw it away at this point. Just salvage it and don't take a sack. But what's his answer? He's got no answer. He's got nowhere to go here on this particular play. Free blitzer here. They're dropping into everything else. Oh, hit your quick skinny right here. Well, can't. Okay? This vertical, no chance. Return. He's not even coming out of his break. Like, come on. It's too slow. I got nothing vertical, nothing quick to throw. Just a bad play. It's just bad football, and it leads to a negative play, of course. Sorry. You guys know I get fired up and I get frustrated when teams put quarterbacks in terrible positions to succeed, and then we look around and say, oh, it was a bad play. You should have done what? No, I should have had an answer. I didn't have an answer. I tried to figure something out, and I couldn't. Okay? All right. Just a bad decision right here by Tua. And again, I always say this is one of the hardest things for quarterbacks to do. This guy, he's standing up, but he's really a down lineman. Okay, so we're going to just run a slant swing over to this side. And the read should really come off of that guy because he becomes the only defender they have over there. And that would be the argument that I would make on this is the Steelers have nobody over there except this guy standing up. And so chances are pretty good that he could drop. Okay, now they could drop this safety in to become the flat defender to that side and rotate back. So that's another possibility. But you know, there's a good chance that that guy is going to drop. And so, sure enough, he drops right here. Tua was coming back, and he was eyeing this safety to see how quickly that safety came down, to see if he could fit this slant in here. All right, so he thought he could beat the safety with the slant. Never saw this defensive end, and we see this every week. Defensive ends pop out, and they knock footballs down because you're just not looking for them. Right? Our eyes don't go to these guys that are up on the line of scrimmage. Our eyes go to the second level as a quarterback, right? Second and third levels, looking at safeties, seeing underneath defenders. We're not looking for a defensive lineman, a guy that's on the line of scrimmage to pop out unless we think he's a linebacker already. So you just got to avoid this right here. You got to find a way to see that guy. I know it's tough. Through some interceptions that way too, where I'm looking at other guys, I'm hot in certain places and going to make the quick throw, and all of a sudden somebody pops out and you just don't see him. And he just didn't see him right here. Otherwise, he probably kicks it to the flat. Okay, let's talk about this route down here because, again, I'm all about details. This is the popcorn combination. So we've got a hook, a swing, and a corner, or a pop, a swing, and a corner. That's why I call it popcorn. Okay, and I just want you to watch. You know why I don't like the popcorn play, right? There's always going to be a guy in the deep area of the field to that side, always. So we're just running the corner 90% of the time, unless it's man-to-man coverage, we're running into a defender. Like, it does nothing for us to have a corner on that route because he's running by himself, not influencing anybody else down underneath, for the other routes. He's running right into a defender. And then we've still got two other defenders underneath here to be able to cover the pop and the swing. Okay, so if they covered this right, and they're watching to his eyes, this guy's able to cover here, and this guy's able to cover the swing, and this guy here is able to cover the corner. So we're not giving ourselves a great advantage on popcorn. The other thing is don't run in here to the next guy. Like, don't run into him because now we're making it easier on him. If I'm running popcorn from this look, I'm running the pop out here and then the swing out there. So this guy here who could give me a problem has to cover ground to cover me. Watch when we snap this. Look at Waller goes right in there 3 or 4 yards to make it easier on him. Man, come out here, widen a little bit, okay? And then I would seam this guy, which they kind of do here to hold this guy off. And now we are at least going to have a chance off the outside linebacker to the outside guy. The other thing is I don't like popcorn. What else would you do, Kurt? I'd run pop, run that guy on a 5-yard pop route inside that linebacker, or I'd run poppin' with him on an in route. So now we've got 1, 2, 3 against 1, 2 defenders over here, and we're letting the deep guy go to the deep area, but we don't care because we're reading the underneath defenders and we get an advantage over there. Otherwise, you give them the opportunity to cover it based on the spacing that you create and also the entirety of the route concept. All right. I don't really know. Okay, so we're going to run a deep, skinny post here. We're going to run some kind of shoot there. We're going to run a corner route, deep corner route here. I think this is an in, okay? And then I think we're going to run a hook underneath it. So, to me, the viable option here against, a zone coverage is going to be this high-low over here to this side. On the backside, okay, go ahead and peek it. But I mean, like this spacing here just in general, like I don't know what we're trying to do and what we're expecting the quarterback to see. It's third and a long situation here, so I don't really know what's going on over there. Okay, on this backside, yeah, I think we're ultimately, the receiver trips right here, so he's not giving us an opportunity, but we're ultimately going to have a high-low on this guy, and that's going to be our throw on this particular play. But, this is what Tua is seeing, right? It's jumbled up at the top. Receivers falling down here. I really have no options here. By the time I get to my check down, I got 2 guys squeezing into my check down. Now I'm just trying to make a play. Again, throw it away. I know it's third down. You're going to punt anyways, but just throw it away. There's nothing there. Just flip it out of bounds. Save yourself 10, 12 yards right there. But there's nothing happening. As a quarterback, you're trying to make a play. You're trying to do something in a close game, but there's just nothing happening, and I don't sometimes understand the play concepts within this offense and what they're trying to get. Okay, so here we're coming back with that, what I call a pylon concept here. So instead of a corner or a go route, as we saw earlier, this is going to be a high pylon corner. Then it's going to be a flat corner, and then it's going to be a swing. I can't tell if this guy's trying to lead block here and run a sled, or if this guy's running a hook inside to overload that side. But either way, concept's good either way. So we come back here. We're going to try to get the corner route, as I said, the corner with the swing or the flat. Reading Patrick Queen, all good right here. Good concept, good read. Get it to the right guy, we get a lead blocker, and we get ourselves a nice play. But good play concept, has answers. Good read by Tua to get through it, find the right guy. Boom. Again, the staple in their offense. Come back. Whole goal is to try to hold and get this quick in skinny post right here. Then it looks like we're going to have a bit of a juke come into your vision. I'm not sure what we're trying to do with the fullback here and where we think he's an option. But then the swing over here. So 1, maybe it's 2 if you think this guy has a chance. 2, 3. Just kind of read this through. This is what Tua is so good at. Everything clears out in the middle. Hit that back foot. Ball's on the money. We get a nice chunk play. But the big reason is because they go man-to-man coverage, so the whole middle clears out, giving us exactly what we want, a nice win on the outside. Good throw. Setting us up close to the red zone. Okay. Really like this concept here. Okay, so we're going to run what I call double flock. Okay, so it's a hitch or a one step, and then, okay, the flock portion of it is kind of an inside curl. And then a lot of times when teams do this, they'll run an OTB over the ball right there, a hook right there. They're going to change it up here and run a bit of a stump or a middle route right here. Here, hesitate this guy and go down the middle. So if you can split the safeties, that's where you want to work. If they close the middle, then you work to one of these outside combinations, you know, the curl to the flat or curl to the hitch on the outside, if you get that. Okay, they get the middle open right here. Nice job by Darren Waller, a little stutter. Good job coming over the top. And again, what Tua is so good at is anticipation. He's looking this direction, holding these guys there, knowing he's going to have a shot down the middle. Holds the backside safety. Nice little throw up over the top. Set him up for a touchdown. So I really like that play design. I like the fact that it's a full field read. You're reading the coverage. You got to know what you got, where the best options are, and then reading it out. Okay. Really nice throw right here. Hey, give my guy a chance. Okay, we didn't have a whole lot going. Get the flat right here. They do a nice job of covering it. Do a nice job of covering the corner. We're going to bring a shallow over here. There's a little window that happens right here, even though there's an extra defender that's going to be there. So technically there's not a whole lot, right? Covered, 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 covered. This guy is in the position to cover that. If you get there fast enough and can hit him between the hashes, that's got a chance. But it's going right into this linebacker. Not a lot happening here, but you make a play. Put the ball up high, over the top. Let your big tight end, who's got leverage, go up and make a play for you for the touchdown. All right. Okay, so details. Okay, so we're going to run a post. Looks like we're going to try to get this corner here. I have no idea what this route is, what we're trying to do there. Then we're going to chip the back and try to get him to the flat. And then we're going to come late over here on a shallow route. Okay, so as we come back, okay, and again, quick pressure. But what always is going to give these plays problems. And I understand there's times we have to chip. There's times that we're struggling to block somebody, so we want to chip a guy. But what to me I really hate is when we chip a guy that's needed in a combination. So if you're going to tell the quarterback to come back and read this post corner right here, you can tell him to read that. I need you to give me somebody into the flat over here. I need somebody to influence 22. If we're not going to influence 22, why am I even reading it over there? Or just tell me, throw your check down. Because the chances that 22 is going to just stay up here at the line of scrimmage, especially late in a game when they're up by a couple touchdowns, that he's going to stay at the line of scrimmage and not cover anybody and let us throw something over the top of him is nuts. So I don't know, maybe they didn't mean for the chip to happen here and the back just stopped and chipped, but I need us to know offensively that when we can and when we cannot chip, okay? And you can't chip here. If you chip here, I've got no shot as a quarterback. That's what I said. Well, I don't know what this route is right here. Normally on the backside of this, you have a big in route. Sure doesn't look like a big in route to me, but I'm not really sure what that is because on the backside, I like to put a big in here. Let my tight end go back to this side. So if something happens over here, I lose leverage, they go to cover two, this guy drops deep, whatever, I can come back and try to get the high-low to the backside. So if that were to happen right here, boom, and we're running a big in to this side, we've got a shot. Him coming over here and running like an over type thing to the middle of the hashes just makes no sense. I don't know what that throw is. I don't know when we're making that throw. Maybe we're telling these guys that they're running a deep I don't really know. I don't really know what the concept is. I don't know what the quarterback's supposed to read. I don't know what he's going to do here. And here we are, late in the fourth quarter. You're down 3 touchdowns, and Tua has to throw checkdowns. And I'm sitting up in the booth go, quit throwing checkdowns. You got to take a shot down the field. But I don't know what shot he's taking, because we're setting it up for the Steelers to take away everything down the field and to force Tua to throw a check down, and he throws a check down. Okay, really good shot right here. This is similar to what we saw earlier, but way better spacing. A tighter alignment here, speed post, tight end, taking a little bit longer. He's going to go down the chute right here. We come back, we get what we want. Okay, we get the double team on the deep post. This guy settles, nice little throw into the window over the top. Boom, nice read, nice throw. When guys are open, Tua seems to be hitting them most of the time. When he's in rhythm and on time, nice little chunk throw right there. Okay, so again, really tough concept here. Okay, we're just going to run a go, in and out, and he's going to hit this out right here, which is not my favorite play against cover 2. Okay, because this corner hesitates, and then he's going to come off, and he's going to squeeze this. Now we fit this in here, and we get the completion. Nice ball. Aaron Waller sees it and kind of slows down, but man, that's a terrible position for a receiver to be in. I hate to throw quarterbacks to throw receivers into that. Man, going low. He's coming out of this thing. Not pretty. Okay, on the other side, what do we got? We got that same popcorn type look. We're going to run the corner, and what? We're going to run into a defender. And then we're going to run kind of a hook, and then run away here, and we're going to run a swing over there. So again, I'm not really sure. This guy's going to the swing. This guy's sitting here for the runaway. Again, the in or the pop here would have been wide open. Instead, we're going to run a corner that runs back into a defender, and we really don't have anything that we're doing here, and Tua fits this one in there, and just, I don't know, not my favorite concept. Okay, so a pretty common concept right here. It's what I call knife. This guy's knifing down the middle of the field. We're going to run an under. This guy looks like he's running a hitch and a runaway, so kind of double unders. And then on the backside, we're going to run a skinny post or a quick in with the back running out here. Okay, so details first and foremost. Okay, what I always want to do here. So this really is what we want to be an isolation on that Mike linebacker. Okay, so we want him, he's got to cover one or the other. He's got to cover the deep one, or he's got to cover the under one. So we want to isolate him. So with the details, I always like to take my tight end and widen him. I'm going to widen at the inside number of that number 2 defender, that slot defender. I'm going to widen at his inside number. Then I'm going to push vertical and take the middle. Okay, Kurt, why are you widening him right there? I'm widening him for 2 purposes. I'm widening him, 1, so hopefully if this zone coverage, this guy lets him go and says, okay, he's widening, he's going outside. I'm going to pass him off to the next guy that's outside, that has outside responsibility, and I'll end up taking the under, and then we get the one over the top. The other reason that I'm widening him is that if it is man-to-man coverage like this, I want to widen and run at the inside shoulder of that number 2 guy, so I'm creating a natural rub for this under if it's man-to-man, which is what they do here. If Darren Waller just pushes up here and runs through the inside number of this guy, just enough, and this guy comes off his tail, we're going to create a natural rub, and this guy's going to be open. Now, I could contest that that guy's open anyways. You could take him right there, but you see how quickly that defender is able to get to him. So we like to be able to do this, create a little bit of a rub. We still get back to where we want. It helps against zone because it puts this guy in no man's land, and we help to get somebody open. But as Tua comes back here, he sees man. Now, he comes back and gets through this really quick. I think he sees that the middle is going to be open, and he's going to try to get back and get to Waddle right here. But Pittsburgh does a nice job of going, okay, what does Miami throw? Miami likes to throw between the hash and the numbers inside all the time. So they're going to go two-man right here. This guy's playing off, but he's going to jump to the inside. Boom, jump to the inside, force that over the top. No good on the throw there for Tua. Tua's got to work through it. Nice job finding his back on the backside for a nice read and completion. All right. Another pure progression play. That common pure progression play that we always talk about. Okay, we're going to motion outside. We're going to run a corner route. We're going to run an out route. We're going to run a cross route. And then from there, we're going to run the sled back to this side. Okay, so it's pure progression. We're just going to read this 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. Okay, so as we come out and they play a zone coverage, okay, now you might say, okay, this could come open, maybe is open by a step or two, but what do you see? Outside defender sitting there, he's going to take the corner route. You've got two guys actually dropping down here where one guy should cover that, but you can still win over there possibly, okay? And then the next linebacker takes the cross right here. So as we're progressing through this, we have nobody open. And not only does this guy take the cross, but if they do this right on the back side, okay, let's say this guy goes out there and then this guy drops into his zone right here in cover 3 the way he should, or vice versa, then that guy's there to take away the cross also. And so, again, it doesn't mean we're not open over here, because we are open. If they're going to cover with all the underneath guys to that side, yeah, this sled should be open back here. But the point is, this is number 4 on the read. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I got to get to number 4 on the read when I know number 4 is going to give me the best opportunity to be successful. So again, what would I do? Well, I would run this route and I would use this if they go cover 2. Okay? So if they go cover 2, I'm going to read high-low on the corner. Once I don't get cover 2, what I would do is I would put this guy back here on an in or a curl or something. And if I don't get cover 2, what I know is they're only going to have 2 underneath defenders to this backside if they don't have a rolled corner over there. So if that's the case, I'm going to come back here and go 3-on-2 to the backside. I'm playing fast and I'm getting to 4 in the pure progression way quicker and having success, right? See how he gets to 3 and then he's got to take off. He never gets to 4, which is another contention for me in pure progression. It's really hard to get to 4 and 5 in your progression on any given play. So why build a progression with 5 guys instead of going, we're going to go a 3-man progression on one side and a 2-man progression on the other side. Figure out which one's the best against the coverage we're seeing and go right there. So the worst I got to do is go 1, 2, 3. Just like here, we went 1, 2, 3, couldn't get to 4. 4 is the best option. We knew the 4 was going to be the best option on this play going in, but he never gets there because he doesn't have time to get there. And he makes a great play and finally gets there and gets a play to be made, but we would have missed out on the best option on this play from pre-snap because we just couldn't get there through the progression. Okay, another tough concept right here. Okay, we're going to go 4 strong. We're going to run the 1-on-1 back here. And again, pure progression says you got to look at this guy. You got to see him first. And also what it does is when you see him, it's going to move guys with your eyes and all kinds of stuff. I don't really know. So they're going to run the same thing, sled over here with kind of a double post combination to that side. I don't fully understand what they're trying to do, but okay, the backside slant's not open. I'm coming to the front side, and you guys tell me, where do you throw this? No again, no again. Now they've got 2 guys over there, even though you could throw the sled. You don't have the advantage over there. But what are we doing with 4 strong? Did a breakdown last week of 4 strong. If we get 4 strong, what I know is they're going to bring extra guys to the party, okay? So they're bringing an extra guy in the safety to the party. What I don't want to do is take one of these guys from the front side and run him back to a guy that I know is on the back side. If we're going to overload the front side, overload the front side. What would you do, Kurt? Okay, so in this particular concept, let's just stay with what we've been talking about. Let's go pop. Let's go curl. Let's go sled. Okay? So they've got 1, 2, 3 underneath defenders, which is usually going to be the most that they can get. If they get a fourth, then this one should be open on the backside. Okay? But if they only stay with 3 underneath defenders to that side, which is what they do here, what are they going to do? Okay? We're going to come and we're going to read. You can read it inside out or outside in. Doesn't really matter. But let's just start from the inside just for giggles here. So if one of these guys, okay, so doesn't matter which one, but let's just say one covers the inside guy, okay? Now we're going to go to the outside curl. Let's say number 2 covers the outside curl. What does that leave? That leaves number 3 out here covering a back with a lead blocker, okay? So we've got that option. We can throw it out there. We got a blocker in front of him. We're in great shape, okay? Let's say they do it different, okay? Let's say 1 covers underneath here, okay? And let's say 2 and 3 cover this sled like they do on this play. Now, who's covering the curl? So as we run this out here, okay, what it really would come down to is you'd have a guy right here and then this guy running out there to run the curl and then these 2 guys go in there. So ultimately it would be 2-on-1 off of this guy. Don't let one of these deep guys get involved with the play. If we're going to attack 4 strong, we're going to attack the 4 strong underneath because as soon as we go with a deep play, we're eliminating the option because we're taking 1 to a deep guy that we know is going to be there. And then we only have 3 underneath against 3 defenders, which is what we expect when we go 4 strong, to have 3 underneath defenders. And we give the advantage back to the defense, just like we do here. And once again, Tua's got to go and create and try to find somebody and makes a beautiful throw up over the top to Waller for another touchdown here. But it's just creating. There's nothing there available for him to throw within the scheme. So he's got to go make a play. And we're going to end there, okay? So that's the game that Tua gets fired on. All right, you tell me. Yeah, did he make a couple bad decisions? Of course he did. Bad interception, almost threw another interception when the defensive lineman popped out. But for the most part, did you see a bunch of guys running wide open? Did you see a scheme that was giving him a bunch of opportunities that he didn't take advantage of? Again, I understand. There are different factors on why he's not playing. And it's not just based on this game. But I hate it. If I was a quarterback and I had just won 5 of 6, and now all of a sudden we lose one game, and it's that game with those plays out there and that on film, and you bench me, I wouldn't be a real happy camper today.